And welcome to the podcast, guys, with Rob and Nando. We're on a roll with these reaction videos, so let's get into another one.
If a guy is giving you too much attention, what does that do for you?
Major turnoff.
Why?
I think it's, I don't know, it's kind of unhealthy to say, but there's just like too much of a good thing, not a good thing. There's no chase. There's no grab point. So
Because it maybe feels like validation seeking. They're checking in all the time to see.
Yeah. Or oftentimes it can come off as controlling. What are you doing? What are you up to?
Okay.
All right, so not too long there, but pretty much it's in a reaction video with regards to if a woman's getting too much attention. Right there, that woman was saying that it feels like it's controlling. What are your initial thoughts on it?
I think we've touched on this a few times in our previous episodes. You cannot give these women too much attention, okay? And especially when you first start talking to a woman, you cannot come across as too needy. You can't be that guy that's always checking in. You convey too much interest. You act like your whole day revolves around her because she just straight up said it, that they find it unattractive and they find it too needy. And it's like, what did she call it? Validation seeking. So
she said too much of a good thing is not really a good thing. And she's also said that it's a major turnoff as well. Do you feel the same way? Do you feel, just like you said, it's not really attractive?
See, I think what can basically happen is if you don't know that this is the case, a trap you could fall into is if you're interested in a woman and you start seeing her, you'll naturally start to act this way without even realizing it. Text her too much, call her too much, spend too much time with her. And you think you're doing a good thing. You think you're conveying interest and you're being a good candidate for her. And in reality, the way female brains think is that they're going, this guy's a little too needy. Why is he so into me so quick? Why? And women think very differently than we do, and it'll turn them off. You could completely kill the whole thing by just being too available and conveying too much interest.
And she said there's no chase. I caught that.
Yes.
There's no chase for the woman. Women want that opportunity to chase a little bit too.
Yes. There has to be some challenge because think about it, right? Often we talk about like high value, low value. It is, you're conveying low value by being too available. That's like the simplest way I could put it. If you're always available and you're constantly texting her and like, maybe you went on a couple dates and you're already like up her ass like that, she's going to start to question like, why is this guy so into me? Maybe he has no other options. Maybe he's insecure. Maybe he's like too controlling, and it could really scare her off. Chances are, like, in her case, most of the time they're probably overthinking it. It's probably just a guy that's into her. But if you don't play your cards right and you convey too much interest, it'll scare them off.
Is giving too much attention a desperate way to communicate with her?
Yeah, I think that's exactly how women see it. They see it as, they'll start to see it as desperation.
You kind of just said it there moments ago. So do you feel that type of communication is just kind of like way too much?
Yes, and especially in the beginning. That's why in the early like talking stages, you have to kind of like mirror her engagement. Like, don't be the one that's like texting her first thing in the morning and like constantly hitting her up. I think a good way to play it is like, wait for her to hit you up, write back a few things, and then kind of like take a step back. You see her on Friday, maybe don't hit her up till 3-4 days later. You get what I'm saying? Like, there has to be some space. You don't want to convey the wrong message where you just never call her or text her back and just play this like, I'm not saying anything until you say something type of guy. But you just don't want to be that guy that's like constantly checking in on her. Where are you? What are you doing? How's your day? No, it's not going to work.
Now, outside of being in a relationship, if a guy is giving a woman too much attention, she's going to tend to run away. He's going to drive her off.
Yeah, and it happens more often than you think. Yeah.
And within a relationship, do you think the same occurs? The relationship kind of drifts apart because he's giving way too much attention, too much validation to that woman.
Yeah, and like you touched on it before, like women also want there to be a little bit of a challenge. If it's too easy, they don't like that. Women also like to have a little bit of a challenge. You can't be too easily attainable. where you go like on one date or 2 dates and like she already feels like she has you and the challenge is over. That's it. Like she already has 100% of your attention and that's it. No, they're gonna get bored and they're gonna lose interest in you.
So now let's go to the other end of the spectrum. How about a lack of communication or minimal? Is that going to be a problem? Is there a way for men to be able to successfully obtain a relationship with a woman by not communicating too well, or even within the relationship, keep the relationship together by lack of communication?
Yeah, well, 100%. You don't want to, that's why I said that before. You don't want to take this the wrong way and be like, okay, we went on a date. I'm not talking to her for 2 months. Because then you're going to completely kill it. She's going to think you're not interested. And then this is why women are so complicated. You need like an instruction manual to like get all this. You don't want to convey that you're not interested at all, because then she's just going to say, okay, maybe he wasn't into me. I'm going to talk to somebody else. Or she'll get bored of that and just move on to someone else. So it's like, I think a good way to put it is like, you have to convey interest, obviously, but you have to give her space as well. So kind of like talk every couple days. Keep the text messaging minimal. Text messaging should really just be for setting up a date. Hey, let's do something Friday. Boom. There's really no reason to be going back and forth and writing paragraphs and asking her about her entire day and you're writing her a whole novel. It's unnecessary. But to answer your question, yeah, I think you could also take this the wrong way and then like not communicate enough, not convey enough interest, and then she may take it the wrong way.
Yeah. The thing is that you kind of have to find a way to keep her attention, not give too much attention, but at the same time not lose her attention as well.
Yeah, and you know what? The same thing holds true when you're actually in a relationship, and I think this is why when people move in together, the relationship can fall apart very quickly, because now you're in each other's face 24/7. And that's why now it's more common for like men and women to date and live in separate places. You want to have enough space where when you see her or she sees you next time, you're looking forward to it. You're not like sick of each other and bored of each other, where you already spoke Monday through Friday and now you're hanging out Saturday and you already, talk back and forth, because then there's no anticipation. There's nothing really to look forward to. It'll start to get boring and very like mundane and routine.
Absolutely. However, you do have to give some sort of back and forth with regards to the attention. Like, of course, not give too much because you're going to drive her off, like I mentioned before. But if you give too little, I mean, I have right here, I took some notes down on the effects of lack of attention in a relationship.
Yeah.
And things could be where you lose the connection. It's a little bit insensitive. Poor self-esteem and self-worth, lack of intimacy, increased conflict, emotional distance. All these are causes of lack of attention within a relationship as well.
Yeah.
And I see that as a problem because, of course, you can't give too much. Obviously, we made that point. But you can't give too little either.
Yeah. Women need attention. Like, they're like attention-seeking creatures. They have to have attention. So you have to give her just enough to keep her interest, to keep her happy. But it just can't be overdone because they'll get bored. So,
well, at the end of the day, women thrive on attention.
Yes.
I mean, you go on Instagram, TikTok, wherever, where women are making videos and photos and these Instagram models and all this stuff. It's attention seeking.
Yep.
And there's things that women do within a relationship that they try to get attention in different ways. They do strange things to get attention. It's funny.
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, they are attention-seeking creatures. It's just what it is.
Yes. Yep.
And as guys, we have to deal with it. We have to understand it and deal with it the best we can if we want to have a successful and meaningful relationship with that woman.
I was just thinking about this a second ago. Like, why did that interviewer ask her that specific question? Why did she ask her, how do you take it when a guy gives you too much attention? And I think the reason she asked that question is because I think it's a very common occurrence where women, like we just said, they seek attention. That's what they wanted, is attention. And then they get a little bit too much of it, and boom, the the attraction is lost. So it's like a very kind of like simple but complicated thing. You have to balance it to the point where it's like you clearly convey interest, she sees it, and you could convey interest through spending time with her, going to places, doing things, texting, but keeping it minimal. So
there has to be some sort of middle ground, is what you're saying.
yeah, because really what you're trying to do, the best way to put it is you're trying to keep like a sexual tension between you and her. If that tension gets lost, that's where the attraction or her attention will go somewhere else. She's going to crave that validation, that attention from someone else. But if you overdo it, that's just how women are. It's like, and as a guy, that's where you have to kind of use your own judgment to kind of, because as we're discussing this, there really is no perfect amount of time, and every woman's going to be different. You have to kind of use your own judgment on that.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing: how does a guy balance giving a woman attention, whether it's too much or too little of it, or in between, and respecting her boundaries, her personal space? How do you guys deal with that? Because that is a big issue nowadays in the dating world.
You know what? Good point. I think as a man, the best way to approach it is if you were to list your priorities, right, on a scale of like 1 to 10, however many numbers you want to make it, your first priority is going to be obviously your money, your job, career, whatever you have going on. Second, I would say, is your physical fitness, health, dieting, working out. I would even put third your own hobbies or side business or whatever else you have going on. And in reality, the woman, especially in the early talking stages we're talking about, should be like listed fourth, fifth. If you prioritize it that way, you'll naturally not give her too much attention, but you'll give her just enough. She'll be happy. But if you have it flipped around, this is another way to look at it, and you make her the priority and everything else is second, third, fourth, she's going to sense that.
Oh, she'll know.
Yeah.
There's women that could tell, and there's guys that do it. I'm sure we've been guilty in the past at times of doing that ourselves. We're not going to sit here and lie about it. It's a thing that guy tries to do to try to gain the interest of a woman, is to try to give him a good amount of attention. Sometimes we're guilty of giving them too much. Sometimes we're guilty of giving them too little. See, there's also a problem with what we spoke about briefly before as well. Guys try not to give too much attention, which is fine, but some women take it as, well, he's not interested in me. They take it personally. They take it as, well, I don't think I'm going to date him because he is not that interested in me, so I'm going to just turn my attention elsewhere. I may, ignore his so-called attention that he's giving, maybe some advances or whatever it is, because it's not enough either. And I think that's a problem as well.
We've had a few women comment on our previous videos, and they said like, oh, what you guys are describing is like game playing. You're playing games. No, the idea is not to play games. It's just to understand that this is how women operate. She just said it in the video. She admitted as a woman that too much attention is not a good thing. So the idea is not to play games. I don't want to send the wrong message and people think like, oh, this is some kind of like mental manipulation. No, it's just that you have to understand that women need attention, but it can't be too much because she will lose interest and she will lose attraction.
Game over. It's not about playing games. It's really about, as men, trying to do our best to give you what you want, while in return we're looking to get what we want. You're looking to get a relationship. There's guys out there that are looking to get a relationship as well, but there's different ways that both men and women go about it.
And you know what? Even from the guy's end, do we necessarily want a woman, up our ass 24/7? No. Same thing goes for us, right? You don't want a woman that's like constantly bothering you from morning till night. You want to see her when you want to see her. Maybe some light texting throughout the week, and that's good enough, right?
Absolutely. Can men show genuine interest in a woman without giving too much attention and coming on too strong?
Yeah, I think you're gonna convey interest. The best way you're gonna convey interest is in person by what you do with her, in my opinion, right? If you're not interested in her in a romantic way, you're not going to take her to certain places and go out to eat and like spend like one-on-one time with her. So I think when you convey interest, that's going to be more done on the in-person side. And then, yeah, I guess you could do some like flirting and stuff through texting.
So there are some basic ways to be able to do it where it's not too much, but you're making the point, you're putting it in her eyes, in her face that, hey, I have interest in you. Let's make something happen here.
Yeah, you're gonna do it through flirting. You're gonna do it through eye contact. You're gonna do it through how you spend time with her. There's nothing wrong with giving a couple compliments here and there. Women like compliments as well, as long as you're not like, again, every single commenting on all her pictures and fire emojis and all that stuff. That's unnecessary. But I think some basic compliments here and there is fine.
What are some nonverbal cues that women can show that she's enjoying the attention
Oh,
from a
so
man? Because women, and hear me out on this because I know it's going to be a little bit of a
How dare you?
little bit of a up in arms. Why are you going about it this way? But some women think, not some, most women think that men are mind readers. So that's why I asked this question. What nonverbal cues do women show that, hey, this attention's working, that they're interested in the man? Because, there are men that try, and there are men that try not to do too much, or they do just enough, or maybe they do way too much where they don't know how she feels because women just
True.
can't say it straight up.
True.
They go around the corner and they try to do all these things where you're trying to figure out, okay, you're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together because you don't know how she's taking it. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, she's either very interested in you and she wants to take it further, or she ghosts you and she disappears. You don't know why.
I think some very basic things that women do when they're interested in you is, number one, she will be available. If you try to make plans and every time it's an excuse, I have work, I have school, I'm busy that day. If she's never available, she's doing that on purpose because she's not interested. So I think one basic, like pretty obvious one is that if you ask her to hang out, she's available, right? Two, she has to be willing to hang out with you one-on-one, because if you ask her to hang out and she says who else is coming, or she brings her friend along, chances are she's not interested. Women only hang out with you one-on-one if they're interested in you. If they only see you as a friend, or like they just want to send the message like, hey, don't try anything, they're going to try to bring other people into the mix or bring one of their friends along.
And men go out with women not to be friends with them. That's not the point. It's to date them. So when they come off that way where they say, well, who else is coming? They expect other people to be around. You as the guy got to shut that down and move on to the next woman, or find a way around that if possible. If you can salvage that dating partner that you have there.
A third thing that women do when they're interested in you is you'll notice that if you're hanging out with her, she'll touch you while she's talking. She'll touch your leg. There's going to be some contact between you two. If she's not interested, she's going to clearly keep her distance. She's going to sit further away. When you guys walk, she's going to keep her distance. But when women are interested in you genuinely, they're going to speak in a more flirty way, hold eye contact, hold your arm, touch your leg, things like that. It's a little subtle things.
So the subtle physical touches can send the message to the guy that, hey, I'm interested. But the guy has to be the one to initiate, because women expect the man to take the lead.
Another one, and you guys probably heard this one or know of it already. It's a subconscious thing women do, is when a woman is in a room with a guy that she's attracted to, while she's talking, they'll start playing with their hair. That's a pretty known one by this point.
Absolutely. Yeah. I noticed that. I noticed that when
they start to get fidgety, they'll play with their hair, or start adjusting their stuff, or they do their,
they'll do
touch
some
their
strange
makeup.
stuff.
Yeah.
Some strange, those are some strange signals, but those are the ones that show the interest.
Yep.
As well.
It's a lot of it's subconscious. They're not doing this on purpose. It's just how we're attracted to women. We may act or do certain things. Just you don't think about it. You just do it naturally. Women, I think, when they're attracted to a guy, they, number one, go into a more submissive mode. If they're not attracted to you, they're going to be more guarded. They're going to speak in a different tone to you. They're going to keep their distance. They're not going to touch you. They're going to make it clear that they're not interested.
Big time, because you've broken through that emotional wall that women have, and then once you break down through that wall, they become more acceptive of you and submissive, and you'll be able to have more control in the way things go with relation to dating her and figuring out what the next steps will be in that potential relationship.
Yeah.
So how do men give enough attention, but in a way where they're respectful to the woman and they're not objectifying her?
So right from the get-go, like we just did a reaction video where a guy took a girl out for dinner, and then afterwards he wanted to invite her straight to his house, and she in return called a cab and left. So that is an example of how he tried to escalate it a little too quickly, right? It went from dinner to come over to my house. The proper way to do it is you got to do it step by step. You have to escalate it like slowly. First time you go on a dinner date, you're not trying to take her straight to your bedroom because that's going to scare her off. You're conveying too much interest too quickly. You're escalating it from point A to point B directly, right? I think a way to do it is to first date, meet up for a second date. It's a good idea to jump venues, right? Maybe start at a restaurant, go to a bar, or go to wherever you guys want to hang out. And that's when you escalate it. And that's like I mentioned before, like sooner or later, you're going to hug, kiss, something like that. And you escalate it gradually. Women prefer that. They prefer gradual escalation. You can't just like, hey, I'm attracted to you. Boom, let's sleep together. So you have to convey interest in a gradual way, and you do it through hanging out multiple times. 1 date, 2 dates, 3 dates. And by the third date, you should have a general idea, like is she into you or not.
I see both sides of it. So you're saying that it's fair for a woman to, take it one step at a time, figure it out after, at least 2 or 3 dates before she wants to go where they go back to his apartment and, they have sex and all that, versus a guy finding out right away what he has to deal with if she's genuinely interested after taking her out for dinner.
Yeah, so like if we're talking about from a female's point of view,
yeah,
this is more like how women tend to see it. Guys are going to try to find out right from the get-go, like, is she into me or not? But from like the way women tend to go about it is, if you convey to her, another way to word this, if you convey to her from the get-go you're just trying to sleep with her, that's where you could kill it.
Makes sense, because if guys go too quick, then scare her off, you lose right there. So it makes sense to put a couple dates, 2, 3, 4 dates into it, see where you are around there. And then if she's not giving any vibes on, well, I like you, or there's something here that could materialize and grow in the future, then there's no point in moving forward there. And, and you move on to the next one.
Yep.
Or you do what most guys are starting to slowly do nowadays, is to work on themselves.
Yeah.
I'm seeing more guys at the gym lately.
Yeah, same. It's good to see. Like the younger generation, props to you guys. We go to the gym 3 days a week, and there's a lot of young guys there.
Yeah.
19, 20, 21 years old.
Yeah, sometimes we're there 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
Minimum 3 days a week, just with, we do have busy schedules aside from what we do here. But
our gym just turned 24 hours, and like we go to the gym sometimes at midnight, and the gym's packed with younger guys, so props to them.
Yeah, I give credit to where credit's due, so props to those guys. But, of course, there is still a lot of room for improvement. It's not just going to the gym. But that's big, because from a physical standpoint, you can definitely catch the attention from a woman in that regard. I mean, a lot of women say, oh, well, they like dad bods and all that BS.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's not what they say. It's what women actually do, and how they go about a guy right then and there in person. If this guy is more on the attractive side physically, not only in the gym, he's taking care of his hair and, facial hair, skin, his smell, his breath, all that stuff combined, I think that's going to be a great way to start.
Yeah, agreed.
Because also men are looking for sure for the most attractive women looks. They want attractive.
Yeah.
That's what they want in women. That's what brings a guy in.
We don't want overweight, a woman that looks unhealthy, that's clearly overweight. It just does do it for us, right? We're more visual. Like for us, it's not for women. It's a little different, because they could date a guy that's not necessarily in the best shape or like best physical shape, but if he's successful enough, like they'll go for it. For us, it's like if you don't look good, it's kind of hard to be attracted to a woman, right?
Right. The thing is that guys have to watch out for women coming after them for their money.
Yeah.
Because that's a big problem nowadays.
Of course.
As well. And a relationship can materialize from that. However, it's usually not a true relationship. It's fake most of the time because it's just getting something for a want that women, in that case, women want. Women are looking for guys with money, which makes sense. You know, guys need to get their money up. We've been saying that nonstop throughout our podcast. And, you know, there's guys working on it, but there's guys lacking it. And the guys that are not making out with that, you know, are they don't have the advantage in the dating market.
Yeah.
There's a lot of competition. You know, the guys that are making money, you have a huge leg up on your competition because at the end of the day, there's guys competing for women and vice versa.
Male priorities nowadays, you have to prioritize money first, fitness second. Women should be somewhere, like I mentioned before, 4th, 5th on the list. They're on the list, but they're definitely not 1, 2, or 3.
Oh, they're much down than 4 or 5.
Yeah.
You know, I would say maybe they're 13th, 14th, 15th. There's a bunch of things on the list that guys have to fulfill because it's actually what women want. Women have these high standards that we also mentioned so many times in the past, and guys have to live up to those standards to be able to successfully obtain a relationship nowadays.
In this video, when she said that a guy conveying too much attention can seem, what did she call it? Like controlling and desperate. Women know that if a guy is always available, something is wrong. A busy guy, a high value guy, a guy that has things going for himself is not going to have the time to be texting a girl all day long and to constantly be around her. Boom.
I mean, you can't make it too easy for her.
No.
You're going to want her to chase somewhat as well.
Yeah. And honestly, I think women have to feel that there's some sort of competition. No woman wants a guy that no other woman wants, right?
Big time.
Women and I know women don't like to admit this, but they prove it in their behavior. No woman wants a guy. Why is it that when a guy's single, nobody wants him? The moment he's in a relationship, girls come out of the bushes like, "Oh, hey, how are you? I miss you. Oh, you know, what have you been up to?" Women want a pre-selected guy.
Yeah, it's social proof that, hey, this guy has a woman. He's capable of being in a relationship. He's probably doing great in bed, a bunch of other things, and women see that. And all of a sudden, they want that. They crave it.
That's where that competition comes into play. And she said it, I think, in the video, where like there has to be some challenge for them.
Yeah, exactly. Any final conclusion to our reaction video here? Last thoughts?
Just basically, don't be the guy that's constantly blowing up her phone, hanging out with her too much. Don't convey too much attention because you're gonna think you're doing a good thing and you'll kill the attraction.
Like I said, I'm not gonna lie. I've been there where sometimes I cross too much where I've given too much attention. And
we've all done it.
I learned from my mistakes. You've learned from your mistakes. Yeah. And I'm sure there's many guys out there that are watching this and realizing maybe I shouldn't make that damn mistake anymore because giving that attention is not going to secure her.
No.
You're going to push her away and lose her.
You live and you learn with these broads.
Make her work for it a little bit.
Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We will catch you on the next video.
Road to 1,000. Subscribe to the channel. Peace.